Hello, everybody, and welcome to the long-awaited end-of-decade extravaganza. So, to give you an idea of what we'll be doing today, we're going to be going over pretty much a lot of the high topics of this decade. So, we have things like new gadgets, we have music, there is cars, we have top books, we have top movies. What else is there? There's weather records, and the worst weather. And we're going to close it off with some astronomy. And so this is going to be a longer episode because we're going to be going over so many different things. So we're super excited for this. We have only posted one episode the last few weeks, and then we took our Christmas hiatus over that time. So I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And so we used all that time to compile all this. So hopefully you enjoy it. It's a long time to put together and a lot of websites. We will have all these websites put in the description of the video and the podcast. So yeah, this is the last episode of Season 1. So we are going to have a Season 2 trailer that will come out at the beginning of January, just after New Year. And then our first episode will be a new schedule, and hopefully we can get together some other ideas for Season 2 that will change the format. And so we will put out an announcement that will be in the trailer at the beginning of January, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what the 2010s brought to all these different genres of technology and different things in the world. It's amazing how fast this decade has gone. 2010 seems like it was, just yesterday and a really long time ago. And to think about it, that was a whole decade ago. So we're going to first look at some of the new gadgets that came out this decade. And really, these gadgets include multiple categories, but they're just under the gadgets category whenever you put them all together. But these, whenever I read them off here, they are really the technological advances that we think of every day and that we have that actually came out of the early 2010s. And this decade, so many different new pieces of technology came out that improve our lives, that going back over these, you're gonna get some nostalgia from the early 2010s and see some products that you still have right now and are still using. So let's go ahead and start out. So from time.com, they have their best gadgets of the decade. And so we're going to start out. These are not ranked. These are just 10 of the best ones that they found. So in 2010, the Apple iPad came out. So I have an iPad. That's what my script is on currently. And this product is used all over. It's used by musicians and everything. So just thinking about all that, there's so many different categories that you can use them in. You can use them to read. You can use them for projects. You can even put them with a keyboard, so you can use them as a computer. So there's so many different uses for this, and this inspired so many different tablets and new ideas across the whole world that eventually grew into now the modern day iPad Pro that is basically the size of a desk. So there are a lot of improvements that were made to this that we are seeing late in this decade that come from the simple iPad of 2010. So our number 2 is Tesla Model S in 2012. You remember this car whenever it came out? It was like the most advanced thing that was out, and everyone was excited about it. And I thought that would be on the cars list, but actually it's on the gadgets because there's so many different things that come on it. It's not even about the car itself, it's about what's on the inside of the car. So it's the first car that we see that's kind of that autonomous structure that has a lot more to catered to the comfort of the viewers and people that are in the car. So that's whenever they first presented it, they wanted it to look sleek on the outside, but really for anyone who was at that viewing to see what was on the inside of it. And that's essentially what the current Tesla models, no matter what model you have, are based on, is this original S model that came out with all this. So our 3 is the Google Chromecast. Now, a lot of companies, as Apple has, Amazon has it, have their own style, this Chromecast, and basically it allowed you to transfer things such as video from your phone onto your TV, or from your computer onto your TV, or TV to TV. So it was really a connector that allowed transfer of data so you could watch things. And so now there are plenty out there that are kind of have a copy of this same product. And thinking that it came out in 2013 and where we are now, seeing, how improved that little thing is. I mean, now they come on your TV, so you don't even have to buy a separate piece to plug in. So we all remember seeing the commercials back in 2013 for the DJI Phantom drone, and this revolutionized the drone industry with its camera attached to the bottom. It's like a GoPro, and it's amazing distance that it can go without having a person nearby. So, I mean, these are used in all types of footage and video recording now. Many movies actually were recorded with some of these. So, yeah, that's what revolutionized the drone industry in 2013. Then we look at 2014 is when the first Amazon Echo Dot came out. Every time you say Alexa, something pops on in your room or in your office. And that's when this thing first came out. It was a little small dot model that they originally came out with, and that came into the bigger models. And now we have these cylinder looking ones that are so much different. But it's handy. You can order things, you can put things on there to tell you in the morning. And there's a whole lot there that wasn't around before that you had to go look up. So it made life a little bit easier while getting ready or doing work. So our number 6 is the Apple Watch in 2015. So I didn't know personally this came out that early. I thought it came out more like 2018. But apparently time had just passed by fast enough that actually it was in 2015 is when the Series 1 came out. And this allowed the smartwatch industry to really explode is with this whole thing. And, they're basically a phone on your wrist. So in 2016, and this amazed me, were the Apple AirPods. Their original design was in 2016. So AirPods now are the big deal and everything with the AirPod Pros that just came out. And so, starting back in 2016, here we are almost 4 years later, and we still are raving about them. So number 8 is the Nintendo Switch that came out in 2017. The gaming console that basically goes anywhere you want, and you can play with more than one person or just by yourself. So that thing's still rocking. It's still going along. So there's a whole lot there that is, we're still using today. That list of those 8 are, they are still used today. I mean, maybe not the Chromecast, I don't know if that's still in use. I think you can still get them, but I don't know how popular they are right now. But thinking about all of that, that's all from this decade, and a lot of that's from the early part of the decade, even though we're still using it right now. So next, we're going to talk about some of the top music. So we're going to look at the music category in the top 3 songs of each year. This is from Billboard.com, their charts. So looking at 2010, and a lot of these are going to bring back some nostalgia. 2010, we have at number 3, Hey Soul Sister by Train. 2, we had Need You Now by Lady Antebellum. And then our number 1 was TikTok by Kesha. 2011, we had Firework by Katy Perry. Then Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO. And then we had Rolling in the Deep by Adele. 2012, we had We Are Young by Fun. Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen. And then number 1 was Somebody That I Used to Know by Goatee. Then in 2013, we had Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. And then for number 1, we had Thrift Shop by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. So 2014, we had All of Me by John Legend, Dark Horse by Katy Perry, and then Happy by Pharrell Williams. In 2015, we had See You Again by Wiz Khalifa, Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran, Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. And in 2016, we had One Dance by Drake, Sorry by Justin Bieber, Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. In 2017, we had That's What I Like by Bruno Mars, Despacito by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee, and then Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. In 2018, we had Meant to Be by BB Rexha, Perfect by Ed Sheeran, and God's Plan by Drake. In 2019, we had Without Me by Halsey, Sunflower by Post Malone, and Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. So that pretty much concludes our decade of music. And so looking back through these, you have that whole style change that we saw throughout those. As you got later into the decade, you went from that feel-good pop into much more of a rap and a whole different genre. There's that pop culture that changed. So next we have cars, and these are from caranddriver.com. So these are not in any order. These are just some of the most influential cars of the decade. This was written by John Perley Huffman. So since we have 10, there's actually a little bit more because one of them counts as 3 cars for one category. We have the 2015 Dodge Charger Hellcat, the 2012 Tesla Model S, 2011 Chevrolet Volt, 2010 Ford F-150 Raptor, and then number 5, we actually have multiple of them. There is the 2014 Ferrari LaFerrari, Porsche 918 Spider, and the McLaren P1. Now these are all sports cars, so I think that's why they're under the exact same number, is because they're different from the rest of them. So we're gonna group them together. So our number 6 is the 2015 Ford F-150. We have the 2013 Toyota RAV4, the 2014 Mercedes F1 W05 Hybrid. Then we have the 2014 Porsche 919 Hybrid, and finally the 2014 Mitsubishi Mirage. So those are cars, you see them all around and everything. Most of those are powerhouse cars, so those are interesting to see, from when they were in the decade. So the top books from each year is our next one to kind of integrate some. So these are from each of these is the number 1 book of the year from Goodreads.com. So in 2010 we had Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. In 2011 we had Divergent by Veronica Roth. 2012 we had The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. 2013 we had And the Mountains Echoed by Khalid Hosseini. 2014 we had Landline by Rainbow Rowell. 2015 we had Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. 2016 we had Truly Madly Guilty by Leanne Moriarty. In 2017 we had Little Fires Everywhere by Celestine Negg. And then in 2018 we had Still Me by Jojo Moyes. And in 2019 your winner of this year was The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. So some books there that hopefully you've read over time, or if you haven't, maybe you can go check those out. But next we're going to be diving into some of the movies, and these are ones that most people have seen because they are going to be the top 3 of each year. And so the first one is going to be the third, and then the last one listed for the year is going to be the number 1. So we're going to start out with 2010, and these are from imdb.com. It's one of their lists that they bring out each year. So starting out with 2010, we have Inception, Toy Story 3, The Social Network. 2011, we had Take Shelter, We Need to Talk About Kevin, and Drive 1. 2012, we had The Dark Knight Rises, Armor, and Skyfall. 2013, we had Gravity, The Wolf of Wall Street, and The Man of Steel. 2014, we had Whiplash, Boyhood, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. 2015, we had Brooklyn, The Big Short, Mad Max Fury Road. 2016, we had Manchester by Sea, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Your Name. 2017, we had Okja, Call Me By Your Name, and Blade Runner 2049. 2018, we had Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, and Deadpool 2. And in 2019, we had Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, and Shazam. So, seeing these movies, these are ones that made up every year. And everyone went to watch and everything. Box office records broken every single year. So it's amazing to see what all those are. And there are so many different ones that many people saw. So it's cool to see all these that made the top 3 are ones that aren't bad. They're actually ones that every single person went to see, and that they aren't just the critics' favorites. They are the people's favorites. And it's good to see these on these charts. So next we have weather records and the worst weather. This is from weather.com. And starting out number 10, we have the January 2014 Snowpocalypse. And it's the only winter storm to make our list. It's a late January 2014 southeast winter storm that was crippling in every sense of the word. The gridlock made it impossible for salt trucks to pass through, and when all the trucks ran out of salt, they were unable to navigate back to storage areas. There were more than 1,500 accidents, 175 injuries, and at least one related fatality on the roads, the Georgia Patrol stated. Many drivers stranded on icy roads left their vehicles and made their way to a local Home Depot, supermarkets, and drugstores that opened their doors to give commuters a floor to sleep on. More than 50 shelters opened across Georgia. More than 3,000 school children were stranded in the area schools overnight. So that's kind of crazy to think about, though. You're just stuck at school. That's crazy. And you can't really see your parents or anything, so I guarantee that was a disaster. Story number 9 is the Carolina flood trifecta. In October 2015, a stalled weather pattern tapped moisture from the distant hurricane Joaquin and produced up to 27 inches of rain across South Carolina. The flooding damaged homes and businesses and shut down a stretch of Interstate 95 for weeks. One year later, Hurricane Matthew triggered flooding in the eastern and northern Carolina, similar to the 1999's Hurricane Floyd, swamping over 100,000 structures. And then in September 2018, Hurricane Florence shattered state tropical rainfall records in the Carolinas. Its estimated damage total of $24.5 billion was greater than Matthew and Floyd combined. According to the NOAA, if it wasn't enough, Hurricane Dorian's storm surge and high winds battered North Carolina's Outer Banks in September of 2019. Story number 8 is the siege of Oklahoma City metro tornadoes in 2013. And this is where the famous El Reno tornado came out of, the biggest tornado ever. So Oklahoma's tornado reputation is well known, but in 2010s, there was a particularly destructive time in the heart of the Sooner State. Two violent tornadoes within 2 weeks of each other stood out. On May 20th of 2013, over a 1-mile-wide EF5 tornado tore through parts of Newcastle Moore in southern Oklahoma City. 24 people died, including 7 in the Plaza Towers Elementary School. Over 300 homes suffered EF4 or EF5 damage, in what became Oklahoma's costliest single tornado with $2 billion in damage, according to the National Weather Service. Just 11 days later, a 2.6-mile-wide multi-vortex tornado near El Reno, Oklahoma, killed 8 people, including renowned storm chaser and researcher Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and his chase partner Carl Yun. The tornadic supercells then rolled into the Oklahoma City metro area during Friday evening rush. It was chaos. Freeways, including Interstate 35, were jammed with traffic. Passengers at Will Rogers World Airport were evacuated to underground tunnels. If that wasn't enough, trailing thunderstorms moved across the metro area triggered deadly flash flooding that evening. At least 23 high-water rescues were conducted, but 13 people lost their lives in the flash floods. So that's like horrible to think about. Everyone remembers that year for its destructiveness. Number 7 is the 2019 Endless Flood. What may end up being the nation's wettest year on record triggered flooding across Mississippi and Missouri valleys that lasted for months. Record flooding unleashed from the March bomb cyclone destroyed a dam in Nebraska and flooded parts of western Iowa and southern Dakota. The southern Dakotas. Heavy spring and summer rain in the Mississippi and Ohio valleys was followed by a wet fall in the northern plains. Flooding along stretches of the Mississippi River lasted into the summer and smashed several longevity records. Several locations along the Missouri River in the southeast Nebraska and Missouri finally dipped below flood stage after almost 9 straight months in a flood. Story number 6 is Michael, a rare Category 5 U.S. landfall in 2018. Hurricane Michael became only the 4th U.S. hurricane to make landfall at a Cat 5 intensity in October 2018. It was the most intense Florida Panhandle landfall on record. Michael's storm surge went up to 14 feet and destructive winds damaged 93% of buildings in Mexico Beach, Florida, and over 45,000 structures in Bay County alone. Over a year later, Mexico Beach Mayor Al Cathy told Weather.com that the town still has no grocery store, bank, or gas station open. Michael's destructive winds extended well inland. The storm caused over $1 billion of damage in southeast Alabama and $4.7 billion of damage in southwest and central Georgia. In Georgia, 99% of homes were damaged in Donaldsville, and 3,000 residential structures were damaged in Albany, according to the National Weather Center's last report on the storm. So our 5 is a terribly tornadic spring of 2011. An estimated 349 tornadoes touched down in the April 25th to 28th, 2011 super outbreak in the south and east, killing 321 and leaving $11.9 billion in damage in its wake. It was the costliest tornado outbreak in U.S. history. A staggering 207 of these tornadoes occurred on April 27th alone, including 4 EF5 and 11 EF4 tornadoes in the Mississippi, Alabama, Northeast Georgia, and Tennessee. Hackleburg, Phil Campbell, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Smithsville, Mississippi were among the cities most heavily damaged. Less than a month later, a mile-wide EF5 tornado tore a 6-mile path through Joplin, Missouri on May 22nd and killed 161 people. It was the nation's single deadliest tornado since 1947. The Joplin tornado inflicted $3.1 billion in damage, adjusted for inflation. That made it the nation's single costliest tornado. 3 million cubic yards of tornado debris, enough to fill 900 Olympic-sized swimming pools, filled 3 landfills. So our number 4 on the list is the Superstorm Sandy, which occurred in 2012. Sandy's size was bizarre. Westward bend in its path led to the most destructive strike on the East Coast in decades in October 2012. Record storm surge swept ashore at the Battery in New York City and Sandy Hook, New Jersey, and Bridgeport, Connecticut. High winds from Sandy's mammoth-sized downed trees from West North Carolina to Ohio to New England. Power outages peaked 8.6 million customers and included places as far away as Detroit and Atlanta. Sandy's total inflation-adjusted damage was estimated at $73.5 billion, the 4th costliest tropical cyclone on record in the U.S. So our number 3 on this list is Harvey and Houston's other floods in 2017. So Hurricane Harvey in 2017 was the most widespread and extreme rainfall event from any tropical depression, storm, or hurricane in U.S. history. After it made a Category 4 landfall along the Texas coast north of Corpus Christi, Harvey's its slow crawl produced up to 60 inches of rain in a pair of locations near Beaumont and Port Arthur. Virtually the entire Houston metro area picked up at least 20 inches of rain, with some totals exceeding 40 inches. It was estimated that $130 billion in damage occurred. Harvey was the 2nd costliest U.S. tropical cyclone on record behind Katrina. A study by the World Weather Attribution Team found that climate change made record rainfall over the upper Texas coast during Harvey, 3 times more likely and 15% more intense. So our number 2 is the California firestorms bring about a new normal. After a multi-year drought categorized by a study as the worst in almost 450 years in some parts of California, a rash of massive destructive wildfires in 2017 and 2018 left one of California's towns staggering, and the rest of the state pondering a new normal. From September 2015 through November 2018, 7 of the 10 most destructive wildfires in the state history burned a combined 1 million acres and about 32,000 structures, according to CAL FIRE. So our number 1 on this worst weather list is Maria kills thousands, cripples Puerto Rico in 2017. No weather event had such severe, long-lasting impacts in the decade than Hurricane Maria. Maria was the strongest hurricane to landfall in Puerto Rico since 1928. When it roared into the U.S. territory on September 20th, 2017, as a high-end Cat 4 hurricane, Puerto Rico cites a George Washington University study, estimating about 2,975 people died in this disaster, while Harvard researchers estimate 4,645 people perished. In Puerto Rico's bridges, ports, roads, and power grids are reportedly still in poor condition to this day. The Society of Civil Engineers recently gave the island a D- on a infrastructure report card. It says up to $23 billion is still needed over 10 years for updates and repairs. And let's not forget about the record each year in precipitation. We had these warm and cold temperatures every year, and it's crazy. Every single year we are breaking records that, it's all climate change. It's all that CO2 that we're pumping up in the atmosphere, and, it's heating things up, causing worse storms, higher rainfall totals. So it's crazy what's going on out there. Okay, in our last category, we're going to be looking at astronomy, and this is actually from AccuWeather.com. I didn't know that they had astronomy stuff, but they actually have plenty of it as I've been looking at it. So, our top 10 most memorable moments in astronomy space exploration in the 2010s. So, our number one is the space shuttle era comes to an end. July 8th, 2011 marked the end of an era as Space Shuttle Atlantis returned on its final trip from space. This started as the last mission in the Space Shuttle program. It started 30 years earlier with the launch of Space Shuttle Columbia on April 12th, 1981. So our number two is the large media explodes over Chelyabinsk. I don't know, something really long Russian name, but in Russia. A meteor over 60 feet wide streaked through the sky, shining 30 times brighter than the sun, before exploding high in the atmosphere over the region. The shock wave from the explosion resulted in over 1,000 injuries and caused windows in buildings to shatter across 6 nearby cities. Our number three is the New Horizons takes its first close-up photos of Pluto. After traveling billions of miles through our solar system, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft arrived at Pluto on July 14, 2015, making headlines across the globe. It was the first spacecraft to ever visit this distant world, and it sent back groundbreaking high-resolution images of Pluto and its moons. Our number four is TRAPPIST-1, a solar system with Earth-like planets. The star at the center of the solar system was discovered in 1999. But the February 22nd, 2017, astronomers announced that they had discovered 7 terrestrial planets orbiting the star, 3 of which were located in the habitable zone. They were liquid, water may exist. Later that in the year, astronomers announced that there may be water on these distant worlds, opening the possibility for life to exist. Our number 5 is the Great American Eclipse. Everyone remembers this one. The eclipse occurred on August 21st, 2017. It was the first total solar eclipse viewed from the contiguous United States since 1979. It's believed to be the most viewed eclipse in history. Our number 6 is Cassini conducts its final mission at Saturn. Cassini arrived at Saturn in 2004, and by 2016 it was running dangerously low in fuel. The last phase of this voyage was called the Grand Finale mission. It included orbits where the spacecraft flew directly between Saturn and its rings. On September 15, 2017, Cassini plunged into Saturn's atmosphere, burning up and becoming one with the planet that it studied for so long. Number 7 is our astronomers unveil the first image of a black hole. The image was captured by using a network of international network or radio telescopes around the globe, a globe project called the Event Horizon Telescope, EHT. The image showed the black hole at the center of a galaxy M87 that is located around 55 million light-years from Earth, according to NASA. Our 8 is major milestones on Mars. Over the past decade, scientists have made major discoveries on Mars, including evidence of liquid water that was once abundant on the planet's surface. But these discoveries may not have been possible without the help of robots exploring the Martian surface. 2 twin rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, which landed in Mars in 2004, both concluded their extended missions in 2010 and 2018, respectively. This was a significantly longer time than they were originally planned, as they were planned for a 90-day mission. Our number 9 is astronauts shatter records in the ISS. Scott Kelly became a household name after spending nearly a year in space, while his twin brother remained on Earth. This helped NASA study the long-term effect of space travel on the human body. Peggy Winston also made headlines after breaking the NASA record for spending more days in space than any other astronaut, totaling 665 days over the course of her 3 trips to space. Our number 10 is SpaceX achieves major goals in spaceflight. On May 25th, 2012, SpaceX became the first private company to launch a spacecraft to the ISS. This is the company that Elon Musk owns, just to clarify that for everyone so you know who we're talking about. They have also been striving for reusability and have successfully recovered the reused first stage of their Falcon 9 rocket. On February 6, 2018, SpaceX debuted the Falcon Heavy, the most powerful rocket currently in operation around the globe. They also began development and testing of even a larger rocket set to launch in the early 2020s. So it's amazing to see, what all went on this decade. It's crazy. And, with this end of the season 1 of the EF show, we've made some changes and things, but looking back, even since the first episode, a lot of stuff has changed. But looking back at the entire decade, everything from TV, language, and a whole bunch of other stuff has changed. So it's amazing to see what all is going on in the world. And really, it's amazing to see the progression that everyone is making, on new technology and how integration works now and everything. So it's good to see that, we are improving the world one step at a time. Well, so this is the last episode, of course, so I want to wish you all a happy new year, and I will be back again the first week of January. There will be a trailer for our second season that will come out, and that trailer will have some announcements, a lot of other things going on, and some changes that will be coming up. But stay tuned to our Twitter, the link will be in the description, because some of those announcements will be made ahead of time, right around New Year's, with what our plans are and everything, because this next year in 2020, things are going to change, because we are going to the true 4 seasons, and so every time the season changes over, that's whenever we're going to end the season and then start up the next season. So there's a lot of exciting announcements that are going to be going on, so make sure you stay tuned to that. Thank you all again for watching this season. It means a ton to us here, and just keep learning, and hopefully we'll see you back again for season 2. Have a great rest of your day.